And yeah, teams really picking up form as well. Yeah, Hull, another one who could surprise a few this season. Leeds again in a sticky position on Friday night against West Brom. Then we're going to go to the Riverside as well, where Middlesbrough still maintain to struggle. They haven't really got a striker, have they? Akpom leaving for Ajax. And Swansea in Coventry. They both got the spoils and took a point each. Norwich again, picking up another win at the weekend. Tonight I'm going to be joined by Martin from Football Martin. He's going to be joining me to talk all things, the games and all that. We're going to go talk about each game. Guys, get involved as well. Hello, Callum. How are you, mate? Hi, Jack. Hello, Jake. Hollyoak. How are you, pal? Martin, how are you, mate? Looking forward to a great show. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, man. There's a lot to talk about. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Guys, as always, if you enjoy the stream, you know how it is. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel and you haven't subscribed already. Please hit the subscribe button. It helps out massively. And let's get my guest in, Mr. Football Martin. Martin, how are you, mate?
Jack, how are you? You're right.
I'm all right, Martin, mate. Shout out your channel firstly, Martin. Tell everyone where they can find you, mate, apart from over on TikTok.
TikTok at Football Martin _ same on Twitter and same on YouTube. So my handle's the same across all platforms. Trying to get as many people on all my channels as I possibly can. Do a 60-second daily roundup on Southampton on TikTok as well. It's well worth giving me a follow.
Yeah, and if you obviously can see Martin on quite a few of the lives, what we do on TikTok these days, where a bunch of football fans come together to chat all things football. And Martin, you did quite well in your predictions this week, didn't you, in the championship and that?
Did okay this weekend. Not the worst effort so far, but just don't want Southampton to let me down this weekend because need them to get a result, that's for sure.
Martin, what was your initial thoughts going into the weekend before the results played? I mean, what's your initial thoughts on like who could win, who should win? I mean, what was your initial thoughts going into last weekend's run of games?
Yeah, obviously I was really focused on, I was looking at Leicester. Obviously you're a Leicester fan, so I was looking at how you were going to fare at home. It was interesting to see what Cardiff could do. Obviously very intrigued at our game. I thought was potentially a really tough game at home park against Plymouth Argyle. We'd actually done really well. We played a lot better than I thought we were going to. We were decimated in central midfield, so was really happy to obviously do something there. But you know, you're looking at who started well. Ipswich, they look a really informed side, don't they? They've kept that momentum from League One, so I was obviously closely watching them head into QPR, who my boss Asmir Begovic plays for. So always looking at how QPR fare at the moment, and just looking at some of those teams that have started well. Norwich again as well. They've started the season strongly, haven't they? So, yeah. What about you, Jack?
Yeah, I think you look at Ipswich, Leicester, both going into the week first and second, Ipswich and City. Then we looked at Middlesbrough, them going into last weekend's games, and you're thinking, what could actually happen here? I mean, Huddersfield not started great. Sunderland, they're a bit up and down. Then you talk about the other ones who's in there, like Queen's Park Rangers and all them other teams who, like QPR, picked up a massive win. Not last weekend, but the weekend before, over Cardiff, 2-1. Watford, they had a great opening start to the season, didn't they? 4-0 at home to, who did they play? Queen's Park Rangers, and then they ended up drawing to Plymouth. Plymouth, again, started off, before we got into week 3, they started off with a draw and a win, which would satisfy the Argyle fans, to be fair, Martin. And I think when we talk about Plymouth, I mean, they're going to be a right force at home this season, aren't they?
Yeah, they played well, to be fair. I thought first half against Saints, they were tough. They'd be fine in this division. You think if you compare them, we've played two sides that have been promoted from League One, because we played Sheffield Wednesday on the opening day. You'd say they look a bit stronger than Sheffield Wednesday at this moment in time. They seem really organised. They look to play a really good style of football as well. It's a tough place to go home, but it was late into the game that Shea Adams has nicked that goal. So they fared really well. Just their final ball in the final third let them down a little bit, really. If they could have had that final pass, it could have just completed their day, really, because they put us under, they put us in a few situations as a Saints perspective. And I thought, with a better final ball, we could have been in all sorts of trouble a few times.
Sheffield Wednesday, I mean, they've not started off the season great, have they? I mean, the owner itself, it was a bit of a melee in the summer and all that regarding Darren Moore going and them bringing in players and getting to know your squad and all that. And Sheffield Wednesday have seemed to have got themselves in a pickle so far, haven't they, Martin, regarding the 2 games that they played before last weekend?
Yeah, it's not been a great start for them, is it, at all? Obviously, a tough opening day playing a really strong Southampton side to start with. You think, they had Ward-Prowse in the side that day. Saints were strong, but I did watch their game at the weekend. I had a look at the highlight. Vasquez, the goalkeeper, looks decent for them. He's going to be a busy man by the looks of things. He had a lot to do the weekend. But, yeah, it's been a turbulent start for them, trying to get players through the door. I think they were pretty thin on the ground as it was, and just trying to get a squad together before the deadline day. It's fast approaching now, Jack, as well.
And a lot, and then there's talk about Leeds. I mean, Leeds, Nonto, getting blocked to move to Everton. Everton, obviously, they outbidded. They are to apparently due to bid again, £30 million. Leeds' problems are just mounting up, aren't they, Martin, regarding injuries and players wanting to leave the club, obviously losing Jack Harrison as well, Leeds. Sinisteri, another key player for Leeds. The Leeds squad isn't settled, is it? It's not the way you want to start the championship season.
No, not when you compare it to the start that Leicester have had and Southampton have had. They've obviously, though they've got players that might not be at the football club come September the 1st, they've remained fairly professional. Like our players within our squad, Shea Adams was being professional, James Ward-Prowse was, and that's what you need. You need everyone as committed as you can until you're out the door, and they obviously don't have that there. I think Daniel Farke is a great manager. If there's ever a manager that's experienced in this division that you think should be able to handle the situation, it would be him. But God, he's got his hands full there. He's got Luke Ayling as his captain. Once again, he knows the club inside out. You're going to need people like him, and to help bring it together in the dressing room, because it doesn't look like it's a great place at the moment. They need to settle their squad down really quickly, and I think they're come good. I don't see them in this state for too long. Get this window shut. You know what you're left with, and they'll start to pick up results.
Yeah, but I agree. Fox is upset. Nacho, KDH, Ricardo and Luke Thomas all could leave before the window. I think that's come from Footy Insider, hasn't it, that one? To be honest, I don't see Jude Bill leaving Leicester this summer, in my opinion. I don't ever see Ricardo leaving. When you talk about the players who are leaving, who could be leaving, you talk about the Samares, the Victor Christiansens, the Patson Dackers, the Luke Thomases, the Harry Souters, the players like that, I think could leave this transfer window. Obviously, Samare hasn't been seen in pre-season playing. He hasn't even played a cup game this season against Burton. He hasn't featured in the league at all. That tells you where... There was a report about Samare from Foxes of Leicester. I don't know how true it is, It's not a source that I've gone to have a look into, to be fair, to believe if it's true or not. But the thing is, I left a question mark on it. And Samare, is he wanting to play for Leicester? Is this another scenario where I want to move, I'm too good for the championship? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, with players, if they have been relegated with a football club, they should stick it out. They should stick it out, because they was a part of that team who got relegated. And the same with Leeds, Southampton, the teams that have come down, their players have got to stick it out unless a good offer comes in. But if no offers are coming in, just get your head on and play football. Don't sit there and think about moving on and stuff like that, and willing to play or whatever the scenarios are. I think that's footballers to a T, isn't it, Martin, when teams get relegated? Obviously, some have relegation clauses in the contracts and all that, but What's your initial thoughts on like the player situations, Martin, with these whole scenarios, Leeds, Leicester, Southampton?
I just think that, like you said, Jack, they're a part of the relegation. Like, we've had players that played a massive part in us getting relegated to the Championship, and they're paid large sums of money. They're not paid small amounts of money. That they sign contracts. Yes, some of them sign contracts with reduction in wages if you get relegated. That's the situation if you go down, but you remain professional. Like, we have stages in our jobs where we're not happy. But you got to get your head down and remain professional until otherwise. Kyle Walker-Peters has definitely done that at Southampton. He's got his head down. He's trying to play football. And only if a club comes along and offers the right amount of money, the football club can then make a decision whether they let him out the door. And that's how it should be.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about professionalism. But, some
Absolutely.
players, it's the Nonto situation. You're just thinking, really? Like, why act like a child about the whole situation?
And why would you want to buy him as a buying club if you've seen him down tools?
If he's going to do that at Leeds, he's going to do that to Everton. If Everton get relegated, he's going to do the same situation. It's going to be going round in the same roundabout again, the same vicious circle. Because some players are like that, aren't they? If they do it at one club, they'll do it at another. I mean, we brought Wesley Fofana from St Etienne. He was following Leicester on Instagram, and all this happened. And then, he wanted that move to Leicester. And then as soon as Chelsea come calling, it's like, I'm not playing for your club. Don't play me. I'm not having none of this. And I'm not playing until you've let me move on. And the thing is, clubs need to crack down on that. Obviously, I get the whole situation, Martin, regarding, but go and train with the under-21s. But that's not solving the problem. You know what I mean? If they're not loyal to your football club, do you know what I mean? You've got to end up finding that solution to get that sort of bad smell or whatever out of that dressing room quickly, because it unsettles the whole changing room, doesn't it, Martin?
Yeah, and especially if you're in a team that's chasing promotion and you're looking to bounce straight back to the Premier League, you need everyone on board. And I think that's the most important thing. It's a big job for some of these managers. If you look at Daniel Farker, the same with Russ Martin at Southampton, your manager as well. I think they've got tough jobs, haven't they?
Yeah.
Teams, you come down with a lot of players that think they're Premier League players and want to be playing in the top division, and some just might not get a move. Unfortunately, some clubs might not stump up the cash that's required to get them that move. And I have no question that I think we might end up with a couple of faces in our dressing room that probably think they're Premier League players that won't get out the door in time.
Yeah, some clubs are like to leave it desperately till the last day of the window when they are wanting to your players. And this is what makes it difficult, because then Leicester's got to go and try and get somebody on the last day of the window. Then it becomes push comes to shove. And, you're in desperate of the players that you want to get in and that. But then clubs start wanting more money and stuff like that because it's the end of the window and they see how desperate attempts these teams are to actually get in that player. But like Maresca said when he took over Leicester, it's about mentality. And if you've not got the right mentality, then they don't want you at the football club. You've got to have the right mentality to help this team progress. And if you're not willing to do that, see you later, we'll get somebody else in who's hungrier, who will put that shirt on and give 100%. And I think that's what you want from your manager, isn't it, Martin, who's going to stand the ground and get rid of anybody who's not wanting to perform for your football club.
Have you been impressed with Maresca so far?
Yes, I have. It's still a work in progress, of course it is. You obviously, I like Maresca's football. It's better than Brendan Rodgers' football. I mean, do you know what I mean? Man don't get his notepad out and that either. You know what I mean? He's a proper. Do you know what? Maresca's a passionate manager. And you can see on the sidelines how passionate he is. And you can see the players as a collectiveness, they've now starting to show that passion and desire again in between the fans to the players to the manager. And it's good to see how the club have now come united again. Obviously, last season wasn't the greatest circumstances between the fans, the players, the manager. But now the fans this season have all come collectively united to sing together. The fans and the players are doing the jobs. They're fighting for each other. And Maresca, they're built into everything he wants to implement and all that. And they're winning games. We might be winning games ugly, Martin, and not getting out of second gear. But as long as we're picking up the points, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree.
Yeah. Let's go on to our first game, Martin, from the weekend. Leeds United versus West Brom. I mean, yeah, West Brom took the lead in this one. Ayling then responded for Leeds. West Brom hadn't really had a great record going into that game at Ellen Road. Leeds, I think West Brom, you could say, playing Leeds at the right time. West Brom played some decent stuff. Leeds, again, had a better second half than they did first half. But this one, it was some, you could say, missed chances in the game, to be fair, for both sides. But yeah, they both ended up sharing the spoils, Martin, and they ended up going where a point each, which, to be fair, both sides would have wanted 3 points to start off the weekend. But obviously that wasn't the case at Ellen Road, Martin. Talk to me about Leeds 1, West Brom 1.
Thought Leeds would have been desperate for their first win of the season, especially back at Ellen Road in front of their fans. They've got a great set of fans, haven't they? There's ever a set of fans that get behind their side. It's Leeds United fans. Wow, yeah, and that's going to be a tough place for anyone to go to. West Brom would be happy with the point, though. You would think, when you like Ayling with a great header at the end there. He's a good player. He's a sort of player you want in your squad. He's been at the club. He knows the club inside out. A bit like Jack Stevens at our place. He would hopefully bring a bit of togetherness, but they scrapped around. James had a good effort as well, didn't he, late on in the game?
Yep.
But they could have snatched it. But, West Brom, they'd be happy to take away the point. Did you watch the game?
I did watch the game. I don't know. Some fans, in the Championship on Twitter says it weren't really inspiring, to be fair. It wasn't a greatest of games, but I guess these two sides were desperate for the points. And like I say, West Brom, not with the greatest of records at Leeds United, would want to put that voodoo to bed. But Leeds, well taken goal by Ayling. He's a captain, isn't he? And he's a leader. He's been in the Championship before for Leeds and previous clubs. And another one, I think can help Leeds in settling the ship and that. But, it's about also bringing in them players who can also commit to the club as well and help Leeds get back to the Premier League. And I think that's the target for Leeds this season. West Brom, I think they'll look at the playoffs this season, to be fair, but to settle 1-1 for both teams, I think as the game went on, I think both sides would have took it, but like I say, missed chances late on.
Yeah, that was the big thing, those missed chances late on, just to try and get the 3 points on the board. But yeah, hello. Leeds, they come good. They will come good, Leeds.
Hello, Terry, mate. How are you? Got you on our cinema screen. You still handsome? No, I appreciate that, mate. Not many people would say that, but I'll take that. Martin, we're going to go to Home Park, mate. This one was left late. It was left very late in the game into added time. What a game. I mean, Nathan Tella, again, a man who could be on his way out of Southampton this summer. Obviously, the Bayer Leverkusen £18 million bid was rejected by Saints. Also, talk to me about the £10 million bid that you've made for the Swansea centre half?
Yeah, they've made a bid today. They're not sure if that has actually gone in or not at this moment in time. But just touching upon Teller. Before we move on, but Teller, they reckon that Bayer Leverkusen won't give up on him. They will fight tooth and nail to try and do a deal with Southampton. They are really, really keen on the player. Looks like Burnley have walked away though, and he won't end up at Burnley. But I've got to be honest. I think if Southampton want to really challenge for the title and automatic promotion back to the Championship, I think Nathan Teller is a man that you must keep at the football club. I don't think you can be letting him go out the door. I think it's really important that he stays. Talk about another player going out before someone coming in. Shea Adams is the other player that potentially he will go out the door in the next sort of 48 hours. But you spoke about the player that may be incoming. That's Nathan Wood. He's a left-sided centre half, I believe. I don't know loads about him, but he was only signed for about 250 grand by Russell Martin last season. Apparently, he's a really good player. Good on the ball, young. So it'd be interesting to see if he comes in. It's well known that we do want to bring in another centre back, a little bit lightweight in in reserves for that situation. Jack Stevens has already been booked, I think, in all 3 games. So he's, all of a sudden you're going to end up with suspensions and bits. The refs seem a bit card happy in this league, Jack, from what I've seen.
You can see that.
Great result for Saints, though. Great result. I thought they were outstanding to dig that out in the end. You got to give massive praise to Adam Armstrong, who played in
he had a cracking game.
He did. He played in the number 8 as well.
Did he set up both goals?
He's involved in both goals, and he makes a last-ditch tackle in our box to save one of their players getting a shot away. I thought he was outstanding on the day. He's really started this season well. He wants to wear the shirt, which is what you want to see. He wants to be at the football club, and that's all you can ask for. There's a few half decent chances for Plymouth. There was a shout for a penalty with Hardy. I thought it was a dive, to be quite honest. That a lot of Plymouth fans were debating it even still today. I think they're quite bitter about the result, but I thought Saints deserved it. They had all the possession second half, and you got someone like Adams in the box there late doors. He should be scoring there. He's unmarked. No one picked him up. Empty net, bang, in it goes. I've seen him miss them before, though, to be fair.
Yeah, I think like I say, the Nathan Wood situation is players like to follow their old manager. Some people do, don't they? If they've signed them from another club before, managing obviously at Swansea, Russell Martin. I think Russell Martin's, it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy start for Saints, to be fair. They do like to keep the ball quite well. Plymouth, was always going to be a difficult game for Southampton. It was always going to be a frustrating game. They were never going to make it easy. They were never going to lay down for Southampton. And they did exactly that. Teller scored. Then Plymouth responded in quite good fashion, to be fair. And then, like you say, Adam Armstrong had a cracking game. He's not just assisting, he's scoring as well. He's helping the team, getting forward and back and doing well. Like I say, Plymouth, they defend well as a team. Obviously, they're really hard to break down, which you could see in the game as it went on. You was thinking this could end up a draw, but like I say, Shea Adams won, goalkeeper saves it, and then Shea Adams is there to pop it in at the back post. And like you say, some strikers score them, some miss, Martin. It depends on the day. But obviously the luck was with him. Shea Adams again, £15 million, I think it is, to Everton. It's a big loss for Saints, isn't it, Martin? I mean, it looks like his farewell goal from the weekend. But what's your initial thoughts on Shea Adams at his time at Southampton, mate?
It's funny. I went on to an Everton podcast earlier, and they asked a little bit of a lowdown on Adams. Look, Adams has not been a prolific goal scorer for Saints. He scored 5 goals in the Premier League last season, nowhere near enough from a striker playing at that level. He's a good foil for someone. He's got good hold-up play. He needs runners in behind him, though, like the likes of Teller. We had Silamana was around last season, so he could bring people into play. He just doesn't score enough goals, and he misses a lot of good chances. The one thing I would say about Adams, he'd be remembered down here for a horrific miss last season at Wolverhampton Wanderers, where he's headed it onto his arm somehow. It's gone in. I don't know if you remember it, but it was probably, he'd be remembered for that. Look, he's bulked out. He's got a lot bigger. He's a lot stronger. Will he be enough to keep Everton in the Premier League? Absolutely not. I don't think he'll score enough goals there for them. I think he's, like I said, he's a good foil for someone. He needs someone with pace in and around him. It'd be a big miss for us, and we have to replace him. We cannot go into between now and January left with Adam Armstrong, Sekou Mara, and Don Ballard. We will need a striker. I think Russell Martin's clearly made that obvious as well. It's who can you bring in, though, Jack? Who can you bring in right now?
This is the thing, and Pirro don't look like it's going to be that option, Martin. Obviously, quite a lot of the clubs have been linked with him this summer, but it looks like he could be signing that contract with Swansea, which didn't look like the case at the start of the window. It was, I don't want to sign a new contract, I want to move on. But the thing is, no club has actually gone into Swansea City and said, well, we'll pay you this money that you want. I just think some of the clubs are just being tight-fisted sods at times. I mean, Leeds, Leicester, Southampton again. I think they're kind of like looking for the cheaper options, aren't they, rather than paying... £15 million not bad for striker of Pirro's sort of caliber, but I just think some of them don't really want to pay £15 million for a striker. They can think that, what we can get like these European strikers for like £7-8 million. So I think that's potentially where these sides are looking for players. What do you think, Martin?
They're all looking for loans, aren't they? We probably
loan players.
We brought in around 150 million now, and we haven't drawn a line in the sand. If it was me, I wouldn't want to see any more of the starting 11 leave the football club. I think somewhere along the line you have to draw a line and say, right, that is it. It depends how much the football club are looking to recoup, really. I know there's a bit of a black hole from relegation. We all know that. They're invest a little bit in playing squads, but there was talk of us bringing in Holgate on loan. Flynn Downs has come in, the midfielder this week on loan. It might be the same at your place as well at the King Power, where you're bringing in loans and not spending tons of money and maybe looking at where we're at come January. But we're at a crossroads, I believe, in the transfer window, and I'm a little bit concerned about the closing closing week of this transfer window is starting to worry me a little bit now, Jack.
Yeah, I think with Leicester, it's about selling players to buy players. And that's the thing at Leicester. And then obviously we're brought in Cassidy from Chelsea on loan. We're bringing in the Galatasaray right winger Atgun, Yunus Atgun. He looks like he'll be coming on loan to Leicester with an obligation to buy at the end of the season. It's a bit of a if and go with Leicester at the minute. I mean, do we want to spend huge amounts of money or do we actually want to loan players, see how they are, and then go and buy them? But some clubs ain't interested in loaners. It's about cash up front and that's it. So I just think that's the situation at Leicester regarding the players that Maresca wants to get rid of. And he said it at the weekend that when they talked about him, he said Samare's leaving and players like that. He said, yeah, but I don't want to talk about them players who's leaving. I don't want to talk about none of us. I just want to talk about a win. But I guess that's the mentality that you want from a manager, isn't it, Martin? The media's like, they like to come in with all these questions, but he's just stamped it out straight away. But you don't get that about managers in modern day football, do you, Martin, in this sort of environment?
He seems to be handling it really well there. Russell Martin, and I don't know what it's like at the King Power at the moment, but Russell Martin at St Mary's is constantly bombarded with questions about, players going out the door. And I think he said he had 4 that started at the weekend that were unsure about their futures. It's not easy to deal with from a manager, is it? This transfer window is an absolute nightmare. Sooner the better it's closed and we can all focus on the running. And we all know what we're left with. But I think both of us probably went down with slightly bloated squads, players that don't fit the manager and the way the manager wants to play football. I think we've probably got 3 or 4 more that are not really featuring in around the first team. That won't fit under Russell Martin. We've got several players that won't fit, and it's how do you get them out the door? Some of them on large wages. Nobody wants to pay the wages. You're stuck with them. It's a nightmare scenario.
That's been the problem at Leicester, Martin, where players have come down with us in the relegation, but then, it's about selling them. And if that club's willing to pay the amount of money you want for them, and then obviously you want to recoup as much money back as you can, because a lot of players, the valuations go down, don't they? So you lose what you paid for them at the start. And then with Leicester, it's been about big wages. We've paid big wages to bang average players. And that's what's done us. And obviously, we've got to now get down this wage bill from the Premier League because we came down with the highest wage bill. And I think we're one of the teams who's done that in recent history with the wage bill situation. But, Martin, let's get on to Blackburn versus Hull. A defeat at Ewood Park for Blackburn. Blackburn have had lost the likes of Diaz, haven't they? They've lost Bradley Dack as well. The Schmodix, he's good some games. I just don't think he's consistent enough, to be fair. He can have good games and bad games. Sam Gallagher, he's obviously been linked away this summer. Hull, they're looking on bringing Keenan Davis in for £1 million from Aston Villa. I mean, he was on loan at Nottingham Forest, I think was it not last season, season before. Hull, a big win for them at Ewood Park. I mean, Hull have brought in some good signings, haven't they? Liam Delap, and they brought in Aaron Connolly from Brighton. They've been busy, Hull. They have. And is it Tufan, is it? Is it Tufan? He seems to be styling that play for Hull and really fitting into Liam Rossini's style of football in the way they've gone about things. And they haven't backed down from Blackburn. They've gone there and really showed what they're about Hull this season. And I think they'll surprise a few, to be fair. But this one, Blackburn, they've been a bit if and but, haven't they, with the manager's future and all that. And everything seems to be up in the air at Blackburn. But I don't think Matt from Rovers Report would have been happy with this result at the weekend. But obviously, Ant from Hull and Back would be more happier. So, yeah, a big win for Hull, Martin. How did you fare on this one, mate?
Yeah, no, I had a look at the highlights. Harry Pickering got sent off early doors for Blackburn, the centre half. Not ideal for them. So they were down to 10. So he got sent off in the 16th minute, which is just a disaster. Sam Gallagher, ex-Southampton boy, scored. He got himself a goal to put Blackburn ahead, and you thought Blackburn just might hang on and snatch it. But Aaron Connolly with 2 really good goals. I saw both the goals. Done tremendously well for them. I think it was a signing from Brighton, I believe.
Brighton over Albion, yeah.
Yeah, it looks a good player. Looks like a player who can score goals at this level, and it was a great result for Hull. They'd be very chuffed with that. But obviously, Blackburn being down to 10 men, they made it hard as they possibly could by the looks of things, and they managed to snatch a win, Hull, and walk away with the 3 points.
Yeah, I think Blackburn found themselves in the position that Rotherham did when they played Blackburn last weekend, Martin, when Rotherham were 2 goals to the good and then they got sent off and it all went downhill from there. And that's the same problem with Blackburn. Obviously, they were only 1 up at the time. But like you say, Aaron Connolly's banging in the goals for Hull, and Hull look like they potentially could really give it a good go this season, to be fair, Martin. They finished... I think it was 15th last season. So, this season, obviously, Liam Rossini will want to finish higher with the squad. They look confident in the way they're playing their football in the Championship. Like I say, they picked up 2 wins from 2 now. So 2 wins out of 3, 6 points. I think Hull fans will be happy with that. The next one, we're going to go to Bristol City. Martin, wasn't the greatest day for Nigel Pearson. Obviously, it was his 60th birthday yesterday.
That was it.
Happy birthday to the former gaffer. Birmingham City came to town with a good record at Ashton Gate, Martin. And they've only just gone and carried it on. And what a good away win it was for Birmingham City. I mean, Bristol City would have wanted to go and capitalise on that 1-0 win, what they had from the week before playing Millwall. But Birmingham, like I say, it looks like it's a bit of one of them, isn't it? Where you play some teams and it don't really go great, does it, Martin? When you play some clubs, it seems to be a bogey side, and it seems there's one for Bristol City. But like I say, a good win for Birmingham. Birmingham again beat Leeds the week before, 1-0, and they've carried on some real fine form. They picked up 7 points from their first 3 games, had a fantastic transfer window. The owners pumping money into the club. And they're really going about their business quite swiftly on and off the pitch, Birmingham. Talk to me about this one, Martin.
No, I saw the highlights again. I watched the Championship show. Got to say that the ITV Championship show is really good. For any fan that's not tuned in and watched it, it's really good. It's really in-depth as well. Super impressed with it. It's more enjoyable than the match of the day. No, they're sending off as well, Bristol City. Robert Dickey got sent off for them as well. Not a good day for Pearson at all. An ex-manager of Southampton as well. But I think I predicted a Bristol City win. I think we did a predictions, didn't we, on TikTok the other night? I had Bristol City down to win that one. I didn't expect Birmingham
down as well.
But 2 substitutes with the goal as well. Was it Moshi that come on and scored just before half-time? He looks a tidy player. Really good goal as well. He hit it really well. But yeah, he looks a menace. Looks like someone that's going to score goals from them. But yeah, Bristol City be bitterly disappointed not to get a result in that one, and to lose a key man as well. Not ideal, is it? having a player sent off with a red card?
No, I think the red cards are coming quite early in the Championship, Martin. I mean, if you ask the Rotherham supporter, you'd think you're going to get sent off every week with the officials, but yeah, you can't even go and have a word with a referee these days, can you, without getting booked? Which is obviously the changing and the ruling. Jack, do you think we missed a treat not getting Joby Bellingham potentially? He looks a good player, Bellingham, for Sunderland.
He looks a business.
Jack, do you think Norwich promoted, yes or no? Who knows? We'll see what
Norwich look a good outfit, don't they?
David Wagner has in store. I'm all right, Mike. How are you, mate? I think Alex Scott, that Alex Scott signing for Bournemouth, it's kind of like hit Bristol City, innit? They've got to go out and replace him, haven't they? But obviously, it's going to always be difficult to replace your star players. We found that at Leicester with Riyad Mahrez. Martin, we're off to the King Power Stadium, mate, for this one. 2-1 Leicester. Leicester City again hitting it late on, and second home victory, in the league, leaving it late again. Leicester, starting the first half off really well. To be fair, they had chances here. Nacho hitting the post. Steffi Mavididi, causing problems for the Cardiff City defence. Should have had a penalty, to be fair. I mean, got dragged down. Marcel Madavadua scored his first league goal for Leicester. The youngster has been with us 8 years in the academy, and what a way to make your name at the King Power Stadium for Marcel Madavadua, the youngster. What a strike it was. Coming from the corner, he stayed up on his toes and banged it into the top corner. Keeper, no chance. But yeah, the way we moved the ball, I thought was good. But then we switch off in the final minute or so of the first half, and Aaron Ramsey with an absolute banger of a goal. Got it in his locker, 35 yards, and
brilliant goal.
You've got to be closing him down. And Wilfred Ndidi is running at the side of him there, and Wilf's got to carry on running to get out blocking, but he stops, and Aaron Ramsey's got a free shot on goal, top bins, goalkeeper no chance, and Cardiff get their goal, which was a real good goal for Cardiff. But then we came to the second half. Cardiff started off the better team, to be fair. They had chances, a one-on-one chance. I think Maita was it for Cardiff. After Ugbo came off. Then Aaron Ramsey had a chance, Hermanson getting down for it again. Leicester had chances of their own, though, with Callum Doyle and that, Martin. But then we brought on the new midfielder in Cesar Cassidy. Tall, he's a presence, loves to attack the way Maresca wants him to play his football. He knows exactly why Maresca wants to play, and he fits the system really well. He came off the bench, and we could have had a penalty, but yeah, the referee played on, and Cassidy tapped home, and Leicester nicked it in the 92nd minute. And it was a bit of the one of them for the fans, Martin, where they wanted a penalty at the same time, and then Leicester's put it in, they didn't realise. And, it's one of them, a bit in two minds. But a win for Leicester late on. They did feel that pressure from Cardiff. Cardiff did give their all credit to them. They did come with a game plan. They did execute it well, but they didn't get the result they wanted. I think they just took a point from Leicester for sure. But yeah, Cardiff gave it their all, and obviously Leicester again with all this energy from Harry Winks and that really proving pivotal in Leicester's midfield.
What do you think this one, Martin? I was going to ask you about Harry Winks. I've heard some really good things about him. What a brilliant bit of business that is to bring him in midfield. He's a Premier League midfielder. Looks the absolute business from the highlights I've seen. But haven't you, as a club, just set a record? 4 straight wins. Obviously, you had the cup game wedged in, but 3 league wins, cup win, 4 straight wins to start this season. You must be delighted as a Leicester fan.
Yeah, it's the first time we've done it in our history, Martin. 4 straight start of the season games, and 4 straight wins. It's the first time we've ever done it, Martin. It's never been done by us before. Yeah. So
momentum, isn't it? It's to carry that momentum on now, isn't it? And just drive forward with that momentum, because I think you're obviously going to be the side to really look at this season, the side that everybody's going to want to beat. It'd be interesting to see what Cardiff do. What did you think of Cardiff as a side?
Cardiff looked good. I mean, they didn't look like a side who was going to get relegated this season or even be near the relegation zone. I mean, they play like that every week. They'll be further up the table than what people think. I mean, Aaron Ramsey's fitted in quite well there, hasn't he? He's a presence, he's an experienced type player, he's a leader. You know, I think they've got the right sign in there. They just need to keep banging in the goals. I think Cardiff, like I say, they look good against Leicester. But it's Leicester's first time, Martin. I believe I heard a stat that it's the first time. No, it's the second time in 100 years Leicester's won their first 3 league games.
Oh, wow.
In a season. Brilliant. 2 times in 100 years. I believe that's a stat I heard from one of my mates at the pub. So whether that is true, then I think that's it. That's a very good stat. I mean, Leicester seems to be raking all these records. Winks is awesome, amazing business. £10 million. I just think it's too good for the Championship. Is a steal, to be fair. Like I say, but a win's a win, and we won it ugly at the end of the day. You know, we had to grind out another result against a side who were near the bottom last season, but I thought we did it in professional fashion. And late on, like Southampton, which I think it helps the moral of the boost of confidence, doesn't it, Martin, when you win games like that?
I think, when you look at it, you look at what Burnley did last season, it was all about momentum, wasn't it? Getting wins and getting momentum. And momentum can be a massive thing in football, can't it? You know, you only have to look at a promoted side. We'll probably come onto it very shortly, but Ipswich, you bring that momentum in. Southampton did it when they come up from League One. You have that winning mentality and you just got to keep it going. And that's what Leicester need to do now. And same for us to an extent, though. We've drawn one in there, but you know, it's just that mentality and not getting beaten, isn't it? You don't want to be getting beaten. You're not letting loads of goals in. That's the one thing about Leicester.
No.
That's the difference between, say, Southampton and yourselves at the moment. We're letting in a lot of goals. We need to tighten up at the back like ASAP, which is our biggest concern. We've actually brought a defensive coach in, so he's got his work cut out. That's all I know.
That's mad. I think with Leicester, though, they ain't got out of second gear yet, so I think it's what we're going to be like when we do get into first gear.
Very big game coming up, though, isn't there, Jack? Because you travel south to St Mary's on a Friday night in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, played Norwich as well, Blackburn. Got a few away games in September. It's always nice to travel, but
I think we've both got very tough Septembers. We've got a really tough September as well. We've got Leeds. We got Leeds thrown in there as well. Ipswich, yourselves. Tough games. Borough away. So
it's a difficult window, isn't it, for Leeds and Leicester and Southampton? I believe in September. Yeah. So they've got to pick up as many points as they can. We're going to go to Middlesbrough next, Martin. They drew 1-1. Huddersfield led the game. I mean, these are two sides who haven't really done well at the start of the season. Middlesbrough, likewise. I mean, at Palm, they've got to replace him quite quickly before this window ends. They need a prolific goal scorer, if I'm honest. But like I say, Middlesbrough haven't really replaced them loan signings, what they had last season in Archer and Ramsey and Giles and players like that. And I just think, Huddersfield lost to Middlesbrough in the Cup, didn't they? I think it was the first round of the Cup, was it? The Carabao Cup? They played each other at the John Smiths not long ago, and obviously Middlesbrough came out successful winners in that one, but it wasn't the case at the Riverside. A draw between two sides who, Huddersfield, you could say people have got them down for bottom this season or thereabouts. And then you look at Middlesbrough again, Martin, a team who people have had as playoff hopefuls, but it just looks like Middlesbrough's season, it just don't seem like the surface is going to scratch. But what did you actually think to the draw at the Riverside?
I thought Middlesbrough would have been desperate to get 3 points and get they're still waiting their first win of the season, aren't they? They've not started well at all. Like you said, they had a lot of players on loan last season, which is always a problem, isn't it, for any football club? It's like if like say Southampton do that, they're bringing a load of loans and you don't go up, you end up with them all disappearing, and you kind of you can almost fall in love with a few loans sometimes. We've all been in that position as football clubs.
Yep.
But Hayden Hackney scored a stunner, didn't he, in the end? Did you see the goal?
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good
Well
hit for
taken
Borough.
goal.
It was a really well taken goal from Hayden Hackney. He looks a decent player, to be fair.
Yeah, Huddersfield are always going to make it difficult, though, wouldn't they, Martin, for Borough? Let's be honest. I mean, they only just narrowly 1-0 to Leicester. Middlesbrough, you know, it's at this minute in time, it's hard to say whether they are going to make the playoffs or they're not. I mean, they've not really clicked at the minute.
To go and lose their first 2 games like they did as well, and
it's harsh.
It's harsh. It's a tough start for Carrick. You know, he's been spoke about in like, you know,
yeah. Leicester wanted him as well as manager.
Yeah,
there's another one got mentioned. Bigger other clubs in the Premier League wanted him as well. So it just don't look like it's kind of like clicked for him at the minute. I mean, two defeats and 1 draw. It's not exactly the way Middlesbrough fans would have wanted this season to go. Terry's to finish about 15th, Middlesbrough to finish top 12. Yeah, I like Maresca. I like him. I do like him. I like his philosophy and the way he's going about things at the minute. He's grinding out the wins at the minute, but he just ain't got the squad fully done at this minute in time. So we just got to keep grinding out the results while this transfer window's open, and we'll see. Next one, Martin's QPR Ipswich. I mean, we all thought Ipswich were going to go there and slam the door shut on QPR, didn't we, Martin? I mean, I went 3-0. You went in the same fashion as well. Connor Chaplin with his first championship goal for Ipswich. QPR, like I say, they had chances, didn't they? Sinclair and that, you know. QPR weren't messing around at Loftus Road. They made it really, really difficult game for Ipswich. I spoke to Alex Griffin the other day on TikTok, and he said, well, it weren't our brightest performance, and that shows that sometimes you just got to grind out the results, even if you're not playing the best on your day. And Ipswich went and did that with Chaplin, and obviously Ipswich finished week 3 top of the league. Martin, I mean, what's your initial thoughts on the QPR Ipswich game, mate?
Well, they've had a hell of a start, haven't they? Ipswich Town, my word, we spoke about momentum in the show, but they've come up with momentum. George Hurst and Connor Chaplin, they do look a pair, don't they? They're going to cause some sides all sorts of problems, really. They look the real deal. From what I've seen of them so far, done well to get a result. You know, QPR though, he's come out and said their manager. I saw the interview after the game, Ainsworth, and he said, you know, a lot of sides are written them off, and he said, don't write us off. He said, because we're going to surprise a few people, and I think QPR will. They've brought in some experienced players, haven't they? Obviously, Begovic, Steve Cook in there. Then they got the young player in Sinclair Armstrong. What a menace he was at the weekend for QPR. He went off injured, but God, did he cause them some problems. He's hit both posts with one effort. He's weaved past 2-3 players. He's got a shot away, and it's hit one post. It's come back and hit the other post, and he was so unlucky, but he looked a real menace. And there's almost a David Beckham-esque goal scored by, is it Elias Scher?
Elias Scher.
God, it was a great effort. Almost on the halfway line, he spotted the keeper. He's spotted the keeper off his line, and he's almost scored. But what a goal that would have been for QPR. But they travel south to St Mary's on the weekend, taking 3,000 fans to the south coast, Ainsworth said. So massive travelling support. I don't expect an easy game. I think QPR will probably get a few more results this year. They've brought some experienced players in there, and yeah, they're a little bit unlucky there.
Yeah, bottom third, finished mid-table.
I think Ipswich would be better than mid-table. I've got a funny feeling there'll be playoffs.
Luke Thomas, loan or sell. I think with Luke Thomas, there's been talk about a loan. There's been talk about a Premier League club and 3 Championship clubs with a no obligation to buy. So I don't know. We'll see what happens regarding Luke Thomas. But like I say, QPR, they want to answer their critics quite well. And, they want to do that because Gareth Ainsworth knows how difficult his season's going to be for him and his team. He's got to start believing more in this squad, hasn't he, Martin? You know, he's obviously talked about his first game about relegation and that. And, do you know what I mean? It's about picking up points to escape relegation. And it's a mindset for the thing. It's like with the team, the QPR team, it's like, what does the manager want from us? I mean, does he actually believe in our abilities, that we are good enough to escape relegation? It's like there's a bit of a doubtful mind when you talk about Ainsworth with QPR's team and all that. It's like you don't know which way this one's going to go.
It was interesting because they started last season so well, didn't they, QPR? I was listening to a podcast a few days ago with a QPR fan. I didn't follow Championship a great deal last season, but he said they were really, really good till Christmas time, and then they just fell off a cliff. I think they were sort of like top end of the league.
When Michael Beale left.
Yeah, and they were flying down. Just that back end of the season, they hardly won a game, but they'd already got the points on the board. But he's brought experienced players to try and give them that extra bit of experience. And Begovic, like I said, you've got Steve Cook's gone in there as well. And, who else they said? I think they said Jack Colbeck, didn't they? Jack Colbeck's gone there as well.
That's midfielder.
Yeah, midfielder for him, sits in midfielder, so almost as a holding midfielder. But, Sinclair Armstrong will be a key player to keep hold of, because I'm sure there'll be a few clubs sniffing around him. You wouldn't want him going out the door before the window closes. But most of their business has been loans, isn't it? But you, as a manager, you don't want to hear a manager talking about relegation, do you? Not at this stage. You just got a positive mindset.
We'll talk about the next one then, Martin. Sheffield Wednesday up in their favourites relegation this season. They've struggled. They've really struggled. Not won a game, Martin. No. Preston have won their last 2 games, Martin. A 1 win against Sunderland and another one against Sheffield Wednesday. Preston fans be happy with this one. I mean, I had them down as mid-table this season, but they're proving their critics wrong again. They're proving that they can play football and potentially go and surprise the league this year. But, yeah, this one, it's going to hurt Sheffield Wednesday again. I mean, the confidence is going to be really low again. 3 straight defeats for Wednesday in the league, and it's not the season start they really wanted. It was always going to be difficult, though, with the surroundings of what was happening with what the owner was saying and all that, and Darren Moore leaving, bringing in new players later on, and then Isco coming, didn't he, the former Watford manager. Sheffield Wednesday have struggled at the Martin, to be fair. They just need to find the right formula to play and get these points, because if they don't and they leave it too late, then relegation could be knocking at their door. But I think at the minute it's too early to say at this minute in time. Obviously, quite a lot of people have had them to go down. But, yeah, defeat to Preston, a narrow 1-0 defeat. It's going to hurt, but it's how they respond in the next game. But what was your initial thoughts on this one, Martin?
Yeah, Preston looked good. I was really impressed with the lad. Is it Kean Best? He put a wonderful cross in for the goal. Like left foot, it looks like he's like a left wing back, left back. It's a wonderful delivery for the first goal. He bullet header, absolutely fantastic. Liam Lindsay with the goal. Don't know loads about him, but looked a really good header. Centre back come up. The boys put a great cross in, but Wednesday disastrous start really. Lee Gregory with the only real chance for Wednesday, but what a terrible start to the season for them, really. And where does it go at Hillsborough? They're obviously going to need to bring players in, new manager, a lot of unrest. The managers are answering awkward questions in the press conference afterwards. Said the owners are doing the best they can to try and bring the faces in that he needs. Obviously, he wants players through the door ASAP.
Yeah, agreed. Evening, gents. How are you, Adam Pal? Are you good? Billy's in as well. Ipswich has searched for promotion. It's early days for Ipswich. They've just got to keep that consistency going and keep winning games. I think that's the only way. But we'll then go to the Bet365. Stoke City picking up a narrow 1-0 win against Watford. Stoke are looking good. They are. They're looking really good this season. They brought in the right players. I mean, what did you make of Stoke's performance versus Watford, Martin? I mean, they're really strutting their stuff, aren't they, Stoke City, so far this season?
Well, I didn't realise when I was doing my predictions the other day how bad Watford's away record was last season. They reckon they're one of the worst away records in the division. They said they were terrible last season. They were absolutely woeful. But Stoke, what a great start for them, mate. They're
2 wins out of 3.
They found a little gem up front, by the way, as well, haven't they? Is it Vignal, the striker they've signed? He
Yeah.
looks, I think he scored maybe 4 goals in their first 3 games for them.
Stoke making good signings. I think their business has been cracking the way Alex Neil's gone about the business this transfer window.
Good
I
business.
think more to come from them though.
Massive club, they've been down there for a while. They're one of those sides that just didn't bounce straight back and could be easily get caught in that situation where you could just run out of money and struggle to deal with relegation and that second season down. But yeah, they, like you say, we talk about the striker and Andre Vigcal, however you pronounce his name, 4 goals in the first 3 games. What a start for him. He's a Portuguese winger, actually. He's only just 25 years old as well, so he's still young. There's plenty more to come from him. But yeah, what a result.
Stoke have had the best transfer window in the Championship, according to Leicester for life. They've really gone about the business, haven't they? I mean, they brought Wesley in as well, the Aston Villa striker. They brought in Johnson as well, haven't they? They've gone to Preston quite a bit, haven't they, Stoke, regarding signings. Yeah, I think Stoke have really been quite solid. I mean, 2 wins at home to start the season and a defeat to Ipswich, which they wanted to put in the back of their mind. I thought they were poor in that game. 2 open, and Ipswich caught them slacking at the back. And yeah, I think it's one that they wanted to put right this game. Obviously, like you say, Watford's away form. It's not great. Jogic and Leris brought by Stoke yesterday. Another 2 signings for Stoke. Like I say, Stoke, they want to finish as high as possible. And, they'll dream big in this season, I think. And they'll look at potentially getting a playoff spot. What do you reckon? I mean, last season didn't really go great for them, did it, as a team? As a squad, it weren't the season they would have hoped for, but this season they seem really better. The more quality in the squad, the more better players, and they're really doing well. But let's go to Sunderland, Martin. A 2-1 win for the Black Cats against Rotherham. Rotherham, I don't know, they didn't get a red card this game, Martin, so I think that's the only positive Rotherham United fans take out of this game. Rotherham drew a Blackburn, didn't they, last weekend, the weekend before last. Then they lost 4-1 to Stoke. It's not been the dream start that Rotherham would have hoped for. Johansson, Rotherham fans rate him highly, the goalkeeper. They brought in Cafu, haven't they? He got sent off in the first game. I think it then got rescinded, didn't it, the Cafu red card? But yeah, I believe he didn't really do much against Sunderland, to be fair. But Joby Bellingham, I believe he got 2 goals at the weekend, Martin, and really sent Rotherham packing in the game. A 2-1 defeat for the Millers. And Sunderland pick up a big 3 points after the start they've had. I mean, they had 2 defeats in the first 2. It's how they was always going to respond under Tony Mowbray, but it's the trust that the fans have got in Tony Mowbray, hasn't it? Obviously, some fans, I believe, don't rate his football and that. And it's not really gone well, has it, since when they lost in the playoffs to Luton Town? So, what's your making of Sunderland so far this season, Martin? And what's your thoughts on their win over Rotherham?
Well, they needed the win, didn't they? But it was a shock early lead though for Rotherham. But they responded straight away. That was the thing about Sunderland. Joe Bellingham, he scored 2 minutes later. 2 good goals from him. He looks a real good player, by the way, as well. You can see why he's highly touted by loads of clubs. He looked like their star man by quite a way. He's going to get them some goals. He'll be sought after. You wait and see. You could just see it from a mile away, especially with his brother being so good. But yeah, he's young. But they had to get 3 points on the board, Sunderland, didn't they? They needed that win desperately. Great following at Stadium of Light as well. It's a good club, isn't it? It's one that did well last season, and they'll just be looking to put a bit of form together now and just settle in and start to creep their way up that Sky Bet Championship table.
Yeah, a lot of people have had them in between playoffs and just missing out. So, yeah, it's going to be one where
mixed bag on Mowbray though. You're right about Mowbray. It's a real mixed bag. We talk to loads of fans, don't we, on our TikToks and stuff, and there is a mixed thought of what fans feel towards Mowbray.
It is. They just want to hope it gets better, and I think that's something they'll be hoping for this season. Is after this win, I mean, they'll hope they can build on it. If they can't, then that trust in Mowbray's going to go again, Martin, and he could probably be one of the first managers to get the sack. The next one, Martin, we're going to go to the Liberty, mate. Coventry Swansea, the Battle of the Cities. This one, Jerry Yates again with a goal. I believe Jerry Yates scored a good ball.
He did.
Benzema-esque sort of approach towards the goal. That's what Swansea fans are calling it. Coventry, they would have hoped to build on that Middlesbrough win after thrashing Middlesbrough, but Swansea were never going to be an easy game. It were always going to be a difficult game, a battling game between these two sides, and I think you've got exactly that. Coventry, like I say, they're making the signings. They're just gelling together still at this minute in time. Gus Hamer, losing him, it's a massive hole to fill. Gokarex again, another good striker who they needed to fill. I mean, Sims is just going to take time to get his confidence together, and then he'll start banging in the goals for me in the Championship like he did for Sunderland. But Swansea, pushovers in this weekend, and they both settle for a point each, Martin. What was your thoughts on Swansea Coventry?
Good goal from Yates, by the way. Good header. But again, 2 minutes between the goals as well. Always seems to be the way between those. Coventry going ahead just before that Yates goal. From what I saw in the highlights, Coventry a bit wasteful in that first half as well. They had a few chances, just a bit wasteful. Swansea just trying to settle down under a new manager. Obviously, been a bit of a turbulent summer for them, losing Russ Martin, and then there's loads of speculation around players, and obviously somehow I ended up losing their left back, who Southampton have picked up in Ryan Manning. Unbelievable that his contract ran down and that they don't have him because he was in the team of the season last season.
They've kept Matty Grimes as well, haven't they?
They've re-signed Matt Grimes last week as well. What a great bit of business that is to keep him. He looks a real good player. He'd be vital to them this season. But they play a nice football, don't they? Swansea, a good side. Coventry again, though, under Mark Robbins, he's a brilliant manager. They'd be right up there again. They started the season fairly well already, haven't they, Coventry? And, anyone that's playing Coventry, it won't be an easy game. It's not a game that I'll be looking forward to playing, that's for sure.
Yep, and someone talked about Yates and Pirro. I mean, that strike force could score goals. To be fair, Pirro. It's just if Pirro stays in it, I think that's where it's going to look at it.
There's a lot of talk.
Haji Wright as well. He seems to be the Gokarex replacement. He seems to be banging them in, Haji Wright, for Coventry. What's thoughts on him?
Yeah, looks good. He's going to be a key man for them. I think with any side that you want to do well in the Championship, you need someone that's going to be banging goals in. And just going back to Pirro, it'd be interesting to see what happened, because I had a text from somebody a little while ago, and they said that Pirro's not quite sure whether they signed this contract at Swansea. So if Swansea happen to lose him, they would need to replace him, wouldn't they? Because he's the sort of man that you need in your side. He was, I think, 18 goals last season for Swansea in the division.
20 goals, were it?
20 goals, yeah, massive. Not a sort of player you want to be losing, is he? So,
no.
Similar situations to that Shea Adams situation. So Hampton's got a year on his contract. Do you lose him on a at the end of the season for nothing? Wouldn't have thought that Swansea would be able to afford to do that. So, be interesting to see two good sides though, two sides that you would expect to be in that top half. I think Coventry would be right in the playoffs again.
Yeah, I think you then look at Leicester with Iheanacho. I mean, Palace is sniffing around Kel. There's been rumours of Saudi Arabian clubs interested in him as well. So if Iheanacho goes, if Pirro's not going to sign a new contract at Swansea, could Leicester move for Pirro for an Iheanacho replacement? I mean, it all swings roundabouts, doesn't it, Martin? Swansea want to replace Pirro if Pirro leaves. Southampton will want to replace Che Adams. Leicester would want to replace Iheanacho if Iheanacho leaves for the right price. I mean, I don't want to get rid of Iheanacho, but at the end of the day, if the price comes in and he wants to leave, then, which is obviously no signs at the minute. But if Leicester,
how much do they want for him? What's he valued at?
I'm not really sure, Martin, to be fair, with Kel. I'm not really sure what the price is. I think, to be fair, you'd want at least £20 million, if I'm honest. But that's if clubs are willing to pay that. Obviously, Saudi Arabia would pay that, wouldn't they? Let's be honest. With all the money they're chucking about it, players, all these players. Swansea are doing bad enough around Christmas. Borough leaving January. Palace want Iverson, top Jack. Yeah, they want Iverson as well. Daniel Iverson, another one who did well at Preston in the Championship. Daniel Iverson. Martin, the last one is Norwich versus Millwall, 3-1 win for the Canaries. I mean, they've started their season off really well under David Wagner. 7 points in their first 3 league games. 4-4 draw at St Mary's. A 2-1 win over Hull and a 3-1 win over Millwall. I mean, what's not better to start life at Norwich City and David Wagner? I think he's loving life at the minute, Martin. Ashley Barnes proving he can still score goals. And, proper Championship striker Ashley Barnes proved it at Brighton and all that. Burnley as well.
Josh Sargent chucking in the goals as well, isn't he?
Sargent as well. Then there's the Brazilian player as well. He's really strutting his stuff. So Norwich look like a togetherness, a really good side. But what do you reckon to Norwich's win against Millwall? I thought Norwich were quite far the better team.
Yeah, by far the better side from what I saw. They controlled the game, didn't they? Certainly late on, they managed the game really well. But he's done well. Wagner's going in there. He knows the league inside out, doesn't he?
Dark horses potentially.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely be in the playoffs thereabouts. They could be challenging the way they've started. I was super impressed with them at St Mary's a couple of weeks ago when they come down. They soaked up pressure. They knew exactly how to play against us, and they transitioned really well. And if you got people like Ashley Barnes, he's going to score goals, isn't he? He's just a menace.
Yeah. Pookie's gone.
Yeah, Pookie's gone. But Josh Sargent's getting in on the goals, and they got the Brazilian Sarri. He's a menace. He's quite strong, quite bulky, but he's got a bit about him. Do you know what I mean? They're the sort of side that, Carrow Road's a tough place to go as it is, and they're I'm not sure who they got this weekend, but they're certainly ones to watch at this moment in time. They've started as well as anyone, dominated possession in the game as well, didn't they? Pretty much dominated the ball. They're good on the ball. They're scoring goals as well. So
there was a few questions about David Wagner's football last season, though, wasn't it, from Norwich supporters? But this season, it seems to have turned a corner. They're really doing well. They're looking the intensity's there, the collective of the team, and it looks like they're really doing their stuff at Carrow Road. And like I said, it's always going to be a difficult place to go for any team. They said that
Jonathan Rowe's been playing well for them as well.
Jonathan Rowe,
plays out wide. He looks good. He looked good at St Mary's. Another player that's gonna cause size problems. They're attacking players. They've got some good players, haven't they?
Yeah, they're on about is it Sargent to Leeds? I don't know if that's happening. I mean, there's obviously been quite a lot of rumours on that one. Martin, do you think he'd leave Norwich for Leeds, or do you think it's not really worth doing because they're both in the Championship?
I'd be surprised to see Norwich Southampton, what will be a potential rival for promotion. I wouldn't thought they'd want to do that. It would seem crazy for Norwich to do that. I'm not sure they're desperate for money, but I'm not sure he'd want to go to Leeds neither. I think Norwich, out of the two sides at the moment, look far stronger. Depending what happens at Leeds, you'd be better off staying at the Canaries for the time being.
Farker rated Norwich already. Well, Max Aaron's left and he went to Bournemouth, but they look like they're still going on. Norwich with some real fight about them and some real power. Martin, thanks for coming on, mate. Do appreciate you joining me on the EFL Championship Forum. Tell everyone where they can find you, Martin, mate, on the socials and that.
Yeah, I'm at Football Martin on Twitter, obviously on Instagram, and do some nice little videos on TikTok as well, doing little daily rounds up on Southampton. So if you're interested in Saints, doing all the transfer news at the moment, and always getting on lives with you in the evenings as well, Jack. We're often on the final whistle, so often joining Jack for chats with the guys, and make sure you give me a follow.
Yeah, at good left-footed right winger. Yeah, potentially. Thanks for coming on, Martin. Take care, mate.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jack.
I'll see you again very soon.
Thank you, my friend.
Cheers, mate. That was Martin from Football Martin, a Southampton fan who does all football content. Go and check him out. Go and subscribe to his channel. Go and follow him on TikTok as well at Football Martin. He does quite a lot of TikToks live with us. We have a bunch of lads who all love talking football. So yeah, go if you ever see us live on TikTok, then go come and talk to us in the comments. Come and say hello. But no, this has been a great show talking to Martin and going for all the things. Take care, Jack. Appreciate it, mate. I thought I'd hate the championship, but it's so interesting it is. Ampadu, he's at Leeds. Take care, Jack. Take care, Callum. Guys, if you've enjoyed the stream, smash a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're new to the channel, go and check out all our content. The matchday vlogs on there from the weekend. The match review as well from the Cardiff game. This show as well will be on playback. So if you're watching on playback, go and check it out. What's coming up on the final whistle? So we have the predictions, championship predictions, week 4, as Leicester City head to Rotherham United at the weekend. And I believe Hull City's got Bristol City. So the battle of the cities again in Yorkshire. But yeah, join us for all that. We'll have the matchday vlog as well. We'll have the Rotherham match preview on Friday night. So join us for that. But a lot of busy stuff on the final whistle. But take care, everyone. Bye-bye for now. And I will see you again in another stream. Take care. Hi all, thank you for watching the final whistle. If you enjoy all our content, please remember to smash a like, share and subscribe to the channel.